In the quiet town of Maplewood, where the mornings began with the golden sun spilling over the horizon, a young woman named Sarah could be found walking the same path every day. Her heart was heavy, burdened by grief and loss, something she wore like a cloak. You see, Sarah had recently lost her mother, a woman of unwavering faith who had always reminded her of God's love and purpose. But in the wake of loss, Sarah found herself questioning everything she once believed. What was the purpose of life? Why do bad things happen to good people? Could God truly be good if he allowed her mother to leave this earth? At dawn, as the birds began to chirp with the promise of a new day, Sarah would walk along the riverbank, a place where she and her mother shared many heartfelt conversations. The sunlight glistened on the water's surface, but for Sarah, everything felt dull and grey. She was grappling with the crippling pain of heartache, and each step weighed heavy on her soul, pulling her deeper into despair. How could she find solace in a world where everything seemed so uncertain? Yet, in her moments of sorrow, there was a flicker of hope, a question that lingered in the crevices of her heart. What if her mother's faith was a guiding light, one that she could still hold on to? There had to be more to her mother's passing, more to the love they shared, and more to the lessons she had imparted throughout her life. It was on one of these sun-soaked mornings that she stumbled upon an old, worn journal her mother had kept, nestled between pages of a family Bible, adorned with delicate floral patterns. The cover was familiar yet distant, like a memory waiting to unfold. As she flipped through the pages, her heart skipped a beat. Each entry was filled with her mother's delicate handwriting, scriptures, and reflections on life. Her mother had written about her prayers, her struggles, and the intimate moments spent with God. It was there she encountered a passage from the book of Isaiah. "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." Those words shook something deep within Sarah. Could it be true that even in the valley of death, God had a plan? Days turned into weeks, and each morning, as Sarah poured her emotions into the pages of her own journal, she felt a divine whisper calling her to seek more than just answers. This journey, she realized, was about deepening her faith, embracing the very essence of love and loss. It was about allowing herself to feel the weight of sorrow while contemplating a greater purpose. The stories tucked between the worn pages ignited a flicker of faith within her, a belief that love transcends earthly boundaries. On one particularly crisp morning, after reading another of her mother's pennied thoughts, Sarah was led to a quiet clearing by the riverside. Here, the trees formed a canopy of vibrant colors, and the sound of water gently flowing helped lull her restless heart. She knelt down, surrendering her pain to the Almighty. "Lord," she whispered, "I don't understand why all of this happened, but I want to trust that you have a plan for me, just as you did for my mother." It was during such surrender that she felt it, an unexplainable warmth, a rush of peace that enveloped her being like a soft blanket. It was in that moment of vulnerability that Sarah realized God had never left her side, even when the darkness twisted her understanding. His presence was like the river nearby, steadfast and flowing, promising renewal and restoration amidst the chaos. But life, dear friends, is not devoid of trials. As the weeks unfurled, Sarah faced moments that tested her newfound faith. It was at work, where pressures escalated and challenges mounted, and tiredness clawed at her resolve. In those heart-stopping instances, she often clung to the memory of her mother, the relentless optimism and hope she was known for even amidst difficulties. It was a faith that transcended her mother's physical existence, a testament to a God who is alive, who hears, who is intricately involved. Then came the reminder of God's promises through community. One Sunday, she hesitantly attended church, half expecting to be overwhelmed by memories. Yet as she entered the familiar sanctuary, a wave of love washed over her. The congregation was warm and welcoming, and amidst the hymns, the pastor shared a message from Philippians, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." Those words felt like a hand reaching out for hers. Weeks passed, and with them, prayers began to shift. Rather than just asking why, Sarah started expressing gratitude for the lessons learned through her mother's life and their loving bond. Conversations with fellow church members brought healing in unexpected ways. Stories of loss, struggle, and resilience began weaving a fabric of community around her, connecting her to others who bore burdens much like her own. But the true turning point came one evening when Sarah, filled with a sense of renewed vigor, found herself volunteering at a local shelter. There, amidst laughter and shared meals, she encountered faces etched with both hope and heartbreak. In serving others, she began to understand the beauty of community, the importance of reaching out with love and compassion. She realized that in giving to others, she received far more than she ever imagined, and every act of kindness became a healing balm to her own wounds. As time flowed on, Sarah built a tapestry of faith, woven with threads of grief, gratitude, and grace. She understood now that grief is not a linear journey, but a spiral dance of emotions, moments of despair intertwined with moments of hope. And the more she embraced her mother's legacy, the essence of faith, love, and enduring hope, the more she discovered her path illuminated by a light that was not extinguished by death, but radiated into eternity. It was during a quiet moment in prayer one evening that she felt a divine revelation, a calling to share her journey with others. She hesitated, thinking of her scars, but as she opened her heart to God, she felt His Spirit whisper, "Your story is a bridge, Sarah. A bridge that connects the fractured with the faithful." And so, she stepped into that light, sharing her experiences in both spoken word and written reflections, encouraging others who found themselves in dark valleys of their own. As her story unfolded, Sarah witnessed lives being touched, hearts transformed, and spirits renewed. She realized that each story shared brought healing not just to others, but to herself. Her mother smiled back at her through the pages of her journal, reassured that her legacy was alive and well, echoing in the hearts of many. As the sun dipped below the horizon one evening, painting the sky in hues of gold and rose, Sarah stood at the riverbank where her journey began. In her heart, gratitude swelled as she understood the breadth of God's love, the love that welcomes questions, embraces grief, and plants seeds of hope in barren soil. She knelt once more, tears streaming down her cheeks, and prayed with all her being. "Lord, thank you for always being with me in the valley of shadows and light. I thank you for the gift of faith and for every heartbeat that echoes your love. Help me to continue walking the path you've set before me and to share this faith with those who still seek." Amen. Today, we reflect on Sarah's story, a reminder that even amidst the darkest storms, God's light finds a way to break through. Just as Sarah was enveloped in love, surrendered her fears, and took bold steps into faith, so too can you. In life's challenges, remember God has a purpose, a plan to give you hope and a future. If this story resonates with you, consider liking and subscribing to our channel. Your engagement helps us spread more messages of hope and love to those in need. Join our community and be part of the journey. See you in the next video. Until then, may your faith be strengthened in every prayer, and may God's love shine upon your life.